Hello and welcome to Texans Talk Money. I'm Kyla, your host and a peer financial coach at Texan Smart. Every episode, we will be joined by another peer financial coach from my office, where we will be navigating all the roads on how to handle your money as a college student. So sit back and get your wallets ready to be Texan Smart.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Texans Talk Money. I'm your host, Addison, and today we are joined by two guests from our cybersecurity office. We are here with Information Security Officer Mr. Cory Shaw. You've probably seen the emails from him here and there. He kind of helps weed out most of them, but sometimes they get through to us, and then he emails you and says, "Don't click on the links, please. Don't open them." And we are also joined by one of his team members, Austin.
Hello.
So today we're going to kind of dive into the world of phishing scams, not phishing with an F, phishing with a PH, the bad phishing. We don't like this one. We don't get anything good out of it. And how we can avoid them, why they maybe affect our finances, because of course we are a financial podcast, so everything ties into finances. And then, just kind of how to maybe go about them in the future, or if you do, fall for a scam, how you can go about maybe, your next steps for avoiding, losing important information or anything like that. So what is phishing, if you don't mind me asking?
Phishing is an email most of the time that an individual would receive asking for information. A lot of times you'll see it with a sense of urgency. You've won a lot of money, so please click this link, or a family member is ill, please click this link, trying to tug at your heartstrings to get information from you.
Mm-hmm. I know that one that you always email about is financial aid. You see those a lot at the end of the semester going into the next one.
Correct.
Or, just when FAFSA starts becoming a little bit more important. I got so many from you. I was like, who is this person? And why does he keep emailing me? And then I opened it. I was like, oh, he's trying to help me not lose all of my money. That way I can actually, attend school. And I know one time we actually had someone come into the office that was like, well, my mom was like, there's like $3,000 missing out of my college fund, and she doesn't know what happened to it. And we were kind of like, that's definitely a financial aid question, but she left, and we all kind of looked at each other and were like, that's definitely probably one of those scams, that big one that came through back when we first started this semester that a lot of people fell for. Yeah,
we do our best to try to remove any phishing attempts or any bad emails before they are delivered to mailboxes, but the bad guys are good enough that some messages get past us. But each year we do sadly see a student or two that falls for a phishing attempt, provides bank account information, and does ultimately lose money. A lot of times we're able to work with the student and get those funds back, working with banks and working with Chief Welch and his team with the Tarleton Police Department. Both of those teams work with us to get most of the funds back, and the financial aid department on campus.
I know that's probably a lot of work, and it's pretty stressful, especially when people are coming and being like, I lost all this money, how do I get it back? And you're like, well, that's going to be a bit of a process. And then it also just affects how, they go about school, because students will be like, well, now I can't attend my classes because nothing's getting paid for, so I'm not allowed to show up. And they lose what they're here for, and then they lose a lot of, maybe possibly where they have to live if their financial aid is helping them with that, or books or anything like that. I know if I came across that, I would probably be SOL, sore out of luck for sure, because most of my financial aid pays for where I live. So if I was left on the streets, I don't know what I'd do. So
it's at this point, for those listening, I want to mention that if you ever receive an email, if you receive a call, a text, anything that is Tarleton related and you have a question about its legitimacy, if you'll reach out to us, you can call the Tarleton Office of Innovative Technology Solutions at 254-968-9885. Our team that answers the call will help get you to us, and we'll be more than happy to review the email, verify that it's good or bad. And if it's bad, that gives us the opportunity to remove it from your mailbox, as well as any other students that may have received the message. So I want to introduce, you already introduced him at the beginning, but Austin Mangum is one of our seniors that works in SOC, or the Security Operations Center, and he receives emails daily that he's asked to review. He does a great job removing the bad emails. Austin, do you have anything else you'd like to add to that?
It really depends on the day sometimes, but we'll receive anywhere from, 5 in a day to somewhere between 100 to 500 emails from people on campus forwarding phishing emails to us. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes that I guess some people wouldn't know about when it comes to some of the phishing emails that we receive. So we'll go through, like Cory's saying, and take a look at the emails that are sent and determine whether or not they're legitimate or if they're not legitimate. Some of them are pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Some of them are like, we're going to find you, and we're going to find you if you don't respond to this email.
Like, last time I checked, you're not the IRS.
That's what I'm saying. It's stuff like that.
Like, I don't think you have access to that information.
Comes from jamie4632@gmail.com.
Or they've got, like a PDF at the bottom that fakes, like, the e-signatures, and I'm like, that doesn't look right.
Yeah, the IRS will not want a bill paid with Chick-fil-A gift cards. Nope. That will never happen.
They don't want an Amazon gift card.
Is that a real email you
Sure.
had?
Sure.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
if I saw that, I would laugh hysterically as I am now, because that just seems
It seems
insane.
So out there, but we have seen people fall
for it.
That. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's why we're so grateful for you allowing us to speak today and try to share and educate the Tarleton campus that these things do happen. Some attempts are better than others. So I always tell people, anytime you get any email, question it. Look at the links, kind of hover over it to see if this link looks legitimate. If it doesn't, if it's pulling at your heartstrings to do something quickly, maybe take a step back and think through, do I really expect to get an email from Target today saying something about a package? The Postal Service, UPS, FedEx will never email you and say, if you give me a $5 gift card number, we'll get your package to you sooner. And then we're in March, so we're getting very close to tax day. So this is the time of year that we see a lot of phishing attempts around taxes. You need to pay your taxes immediately or you'll go to prison. Once again, the IRS doesn't threaten you that way through email.
No.
So if you get something like that, question it.
Yeah. So I know you had mentioned, like, texting calls and everything. So that's kind of one thing that I was thinking about before coming on this episode with you, is one that's actually gone kind of nationwide viral, I guess, currently, or at least I know in the state of Texas and a little bit in Oklahoma, is the toll road text messages.
Yes.
For the toll payments. I got that one day, and I was like, oh, I drive the toll roads. I was like, maybe this is something that my parents put me on, and I read that. And I was like, that is the most absurd thing I have ever heard, because what in the world? Like, you can't even tell me what toll road I've been driving on, and I'm not pressing your link. That's all these random letters and numbers that doesn't seem, reliable at all, and especially because my number is not a Texas number. It's a Florida number, and so I got the toll road there is called SunPass, and it was like, pay your SunPass toll. I haven't been to Florida in 3 years.
But you did exactly what you should have done. You got a text you weren't expecting. It had gibberish in the link that it was wanting you to click. You hadn't been there in a long time. So you did exactly what you were supposed to do by questioning the legitimacy and not clicking and putting in your debit card, credit card information, bank account information. So you did exactly what you should have done.
Yeah, and I'm broke anyways, so I would have had to call my mom, and she would have been like, "Addison, Shay, what are you looking at? Because this is not real. What are you doing, falling for this?" So,
but you saw the bad actors or threat actors, as they're referred to in cybersecurity, reaching out to people that had toll tags. I have a toll tag. I got the text message as well, and I thought, I know I'm current on my bill. Why are they saying I'm not? And then I started paying attention exactly what you did. And thinking, this is not legit.
Yeah. And then, the scam calls, the tried and true phishing attempt of all, the one that calls your phone line, your grandparents' phone line, and they pick it up and they're like, I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. And, I even get those because, like I said, I'm a Florida number, so I still get all kinds of crazy stuff. I get ones all the time about the freaking car dealerships back home that are like, please pay your car payment. I have never made a car payment in my entire life. My name is not under any car. My parents' name is on my car. I'm like, how do you expect me to pay something that I don't actually own? Like, right. And so it's one of those you have to think logically about when you get these. Like, are you the one in control of your financial aid, or are your parents the one that take control of that? Or does the government pay that for you so you're not having to worry about, putting in tuition payments? I know some people's tuition is fully covered. So if you're getting emails about your tuition that seem a little odd and like off, like maybe something's missing from it, maybe just delete it, put it in your junk, report it, or just forward it to someone and be like, hey, I'm not 100% sure. Can you tell me whether or not I should take this serious? Because you don't want to fall for one of those and then lose all kinds of money that you maybe don't even have, especially if you're someone who's supporting yourself through college. You don't want to fall for those because then you're going to be SOL. Like I said, like you're going to be at a loss and you're not going to know what to do because they don't really give out financial aid for people that fall for phishing scams because you're not really trustworthy and all. So why is this, and that kind of leads into the why it's relevant to the financial aid or to finances, is if you're falling for scams that are asking for your money, you're going to lose your money.
Yes.
And that's going to affect you in your future and, not being able to pay for things. Yeah. And then especially if you're someone who doesn't work a job and maybe you're on a stipend or an allowance or whatever it may be, whatever your case is, you don't have piles of money sitting around to where you can spare $200 because you got this scam text that was like, pay your $200 toll fee. I know I wouldn't be able to do that if I fell for that.
And we're not always talking about thousands and thousands of dollars, but when you're a student and financial aid and that's how you're paying for your books, that's how you're paying for rent, like you mentioned, could be how you're eating.
Yep.
So when you're talking about that, $50, $100, that really impacts our students.
Yeah. And then I know we've talked about like people actually fall for some of these and, what they do to kind of get at it. So how, like, the way that it works is it messes with the psychology in your brain. Like you said, it pulls at your heartstrings and tries to get you to, like, feel something. Like TV shows and movies always make jokes about, like an Arabian prince that wants to send you $4,000 because they think you're gorgeous. Yeah. They've never seen a picture of you. How are they going to know what you look like? Something like that. So don't fall for that because then they give them your bank information and they took $4,000 from you. Yep. So now you could be in the negatives and now owe money instead of quote unquote being owed money. So it's.
And another attempt that we see pretty frequently is somebody receiving an email that a Tarleton alumni is looking for somebody to pet sit or walk their dog. You're probably not going to get paid $400 or $500 an hour to walk somebody's dog. So that goes back to really thinking about what you're reading and does this seem reasonable or not?
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at each email and does this really sound reasonable, then you'll cut down on a lot of the phishing attempts. But
Yeah.
like I mentioned earlier, we have a team of 8 students, with Austin being one of those. Sadly, he is graduating in May, so we're going to lose Austin and another member, Jacqueline. Sadly, they're graduating in May, but we are always happy to review any of those emails, any messages that you receive to see, are they real or not.
I mean, that's what they're there for.
Yep.
So why not use your resources? You pay for it,
Absolutely.
use it. It's just like the health center. Like, why go to the hospital when you could go to the health center? You know, kind of things like that. But your financial and your cyber health. Think about it that way.
I like that.
So we like to make our little our bridge building, as I like to say. We like to tie everything back. So, you know, how are they going to target your finances? I know we've kind of talked about that a lot, but they're going to ask for credit card information.
They're going to ask for credit card information. They may ask you to go purchase a gift card,
which I think is crazy.
They may actually give you money, allow you to deposit it, say, I gave you too much money, and then you pay them back, and their money has not totally cleared the bank. You go ahead and write them a check. They take your money, and then it's lost.
Oh.
So be careful of that type of thing as well.
That does not sound fun.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That I know, because I know what you mean exactly by clearing. Like when it's your ledger and your actual available balance, so it hasn't fully set into your account, and then you're writing them a check for $250, and they've canceled their deposit. And oh, no, thank you. Thank you.
It can get bad very quickly.
Oh, no, thank you. Because imagine if it's something like $1,000 or something like that, and then you're having to write them back like $500. Let's say you don't have enough to do that. Like, that's not...
Well, yeah, if you agree to 1 hour of dog walking for $500, they accidentally give you $5,000, supposedly accidentally, and then you pay the $4,000.
I mean, you'd have to be like
back.
A billionaire to pay someone $500, or really, 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 really care about your dog to pay $500 to walk a dog for an hour. That really seems crazy to me.
I like my dogs, but not
$500.
Not $500 an hour.
No, I'll give you $5. I'll give you $5 if I feel like you deserve to be paid. So what are some of those red flags that we can kind of catch those phishing attempts with?
Well, a lot of the time you'll see in the sender address of those emails where you can see who sent it to you. You'll see that something is obviously misspelled or something's capitalized that's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look right. So you could tell a lot of times by that. And if you can't tell by that, if it looks pretty legitimate, you can look through the body of the email, and you'll find, like we were talking about earlier, where you'll see one time we got one where it was just a picture of this dude covered in mud.
What?
It was very random. Like some of them know what they're doing, and some of them don't know what they're doing.
A random dude covered in
random
mud.
Dude. No idea.
Okay.
And then it was some sort of like sob story about, I've lost my job or some, something real suspicious. But yeah, you can go through and look. A big way that I would say for people to find out if an email is fake, if you get an email from some notable company, let's say something like Microsoft, or you get an email from Google, a lot of times you might be able to Google like a template or something, some sort of reference material, and compare your email to that. But most of the time when you have somebody trying to phish you from some known company, they're going to have messed something up in the address, and it's going to be pretty obvious.
There's like there's like 8 O's instead of 2, or every other letter is capitalized, or they have 2024. Then like, why does a massive $1 million to $1 billion company have my
email address,
like an email address that looks like mine, where it's got all this random crap going on? That way it will actually like be a viable email or something like that. So why Google of all companies does not need to have 40 O's in it, and then like 3 dots, and then .google.com? Like, it doesn't need all that. If it's actually Google, or actually Amazon, it's going to be spelled right, and it's going to be pretty plain and simple, and pretty obvious that it's reliable.
It's not like my fancy Oki.
Yep.
Sunglasses instead of Oakley.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Your Okie. Yep. Or your Fufu Lemon instead of your Lululemon. You know, things like that. I know a lot of the time they have the links on there, the hyperlinks that are, like we said, the gibberish that make no sense. Like, if I can create a link that has an actual name, then I think a viable company or a university that's giving me financial aid can give me a link that says financial aid or, you know, missing packet, you know, whatever it may be that they're trying to scam you out of or whatever. You'd think they'd be able to create a not sketchy link, because I know when I was in like 6th grade, I had my first phone. I thought I was so cool. Amazon texted me, and this link, there were like 40 pop-ups that came up, and I was like, what is this? And I went to my mom, and she's like, well, we have to reset your phone. And I was like, great. Okay, so all my pictures are gone. All my games are gone. I was very sad that day. It was not a good day for me.
And speaking of valid addresses, one thing I wanted to mention is your professors, financial aid at Tarleton, the Tarleton Police Department, the President's Office, the individuals that you would expect to get emails from, dining services, it's not going to come from a Gmail email address. So look at the email address. Is it from @Tarleton? If it's another student that's emailing you, is it @go.tarleton.edu? So once again,
those little things.
Look at the little things.
Those little tiny things. And then, so those were kind of more on the email side, but then the text messages and calls, they're going to have a lot of the you've won something. The text messages are going to be a lot more of the you've won something, because that's something you expect to get in a text message a lot more of the time. And that's something where you can see they're kind of leaning a little bit more towards that when it comes to something like that for the younger population who is more gullible and is going to fall for that. Like, I've gotten plenty of UPS, like, your package is being tracked if you would like whatever. And it's something that just wants my address. And then, you know, all the random stuff that doesn't make any sense if you're trying to get me my package. Same with Amazon. Like, I don't have an Amazon account. Why are you asking me to reset it and also give you my debit card information again? That doesn't seem reasonable. If you're just trying to reset a password, why do you need my debit card information? That doesn't line up. So even if you do press on a link, maybe check it out a little bit more.
Yeah, if you click on a link and you immediately think, I made a mistake, just close it. Don't make the mistake worse by entering additional information. And Tarleton's not going to email you and ask you for your debit card to pay your class bill. Yeah. And the Tarleton IT department will not email you and say, we're deleting your account. Please enter your password to verify that you need to keep it.
Yeah. And then along with the like prize winning is a social media scam that I have personally experienced. I did not fall for it. I was smarter than that. But is when you do like the giveaways that celebrities will do. Like, a lot of the time you see it more from like makeup artists or vloggers that have a lot of brand deals. They'll have like a bunch of stuff that they got in PR packages that they're giving away. And if you repost it and tag them on your story and comment on their post or whatever, you know, that enters you into it. Well, like the next day I got a DM from this account that was the creator I had entered into the giveaway for and prize winning or like giveaway winning or whatever. And it had all these thousands of emojis. That's another thing. If it has 1,000 emojis, probably not who you want it to be from. Right. Probably not reliable at all. And they're like, congrats, you've won it. Give us your credit card information. I fear I don't own a credit card. And also, why are you asking me for my credit card information if it's a giveaway? Right. Like, if anything, you would need my address, like my home address, to send my winnings to, but you don't need my credit card. Correct. Because I should be getting it for free. That's what you told me, right? And so I reported it. I blocked it. I was like, not doing this, not today. So that's one that you need to watch out for, too. And
I'm glad you reported it, because sometimes we see individuals that have received a phishing attempt or some other questionable activity, and they just assume that somebody else has reported it. So I ask that you go ahead and report it. So don't be at home with the power out and assuming every one of your other neighbors has contacted the electric company saying we have no power.
Yeah.
When it may just be you, or everybody else around you may be assuming that you're calling.
Yep.
So you go ahead and take that step.
That, or like if your phone, like if you don't have service to it, maybe find a way to figure out if it's your phone, turn it off, then turn it back on. You know, things like that, like the little things that you're like, oh, I don't have service, but then everybody's sitting around you is like, well, I have service, so something's up with your phone. Don't sit there and just think that everybody else has the same problem as you, or that somebody else is going to do it for you. Sometimes you have to be your own advocate, and you have to be, you have to stand up for yourself. Absolutely. Kind of thing. So speaking of that, like kind of, you know, protecting yourself, how can I protect myself from phishing scams? Like what can I do to maybe weed it out, or, you know, better, like recognize them in a way, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You want to take that, Austin?
So when it comes to weeding them out of your own inbox, that would kind of connect back to knowing what phishing emails look like and how to determine whether or not something is a phishing email. So you would just have to know, you would go through an email. If you receive something that one of the biggest things is a lot of times if you didn't initiate the email being sent to you, then I would immediately look into it. Yeah. Because you're never really going to initiate the sending of a phishing email, but you'll initiate something like if you need to reset your password for your bank account, or if you're trying to see the people that you subscribe to on YouTube, whatever post they've made, you have initiated that email. But if you receive something just off the wall, random, I would check into it and look at, you know, the sender address like we said before. Look at the body of the email, see if there's anything in there that's weird, like you're saying, asking for your credit card number, asking for your home address or something like that. Nobody's going to ask you for that. Yeah. Nobody's going to do it. Yeah. Don't give it to them. I mean, if that hasn't been taught, let it be known now. Do not give out your credit card information to anybody that asks for it.
Yeah. Most of the, you really shouldn't, you shouldn't be asking for it. It should be more of a, you know, if someone's going to ask you for your credit card information, it's going to be more of something through an app or right in front of a person that's saying, we're going to need your information for this, or on a secure website where you're purchasing something and it's obviously like safe to enter that. Yeah. So.
And speaking of that, I apologize for interrupting. Nobody at Tarleton will ask you for your credit card number. Yeah. They're not going to ask you for your number, your PIN, the 3 digits on the back, the expiration date. They may, if it's a valid communication, may ask you to go somewhere to pay, enter that information yourself, but they do not contact you and ask you for that information.
Yeah. I will never give out my information unless I'm sitting right in front of someone. I'm very big on that. Like, I'm very picky about where I do my online shopping. Because of that, I'm like, I'm a college kid. I don't have bukus of money to just be losing. So I'm picky about where I put my money.
And then speaking of online purchasing, I ask that if you are signing up for a Target account, or you mentioned Lulu earlier, if you're creating, and I have 2 daughters and a wife, so I knew exactly what you're talking about. But if you're going online to create an account, don't use your Tarleton email address to do that. Because if Target or whomever is compromised, if you're using the same password for Tarleton and Target, then your information with us is now at question, and we're going to reach out to you and ask you to reset your password.
Yep. That is one thing. Never, ever, ever start an account with anything other with your Tarleton email that doesn't have to do with Tarleton. Correct. Because also, if I'm correct, when you graduate, that email is pretty much shut down and doesn't work. You're not receiving those emails because it's not necessary for you to be getting emails about the smokestack lighting tomorrow when you live in, you know, Alabama. You know, like, it's unnecessary.
The same is true for faculty and staff. Once they are no longer affiliated with the university, they'll lose their email address. Yeah. If they're a retiree, they may get it at retiree.tarleton.edu address. but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, it's not going to work. I know one of my school emails that I had in middle school, I signed into YouTube with it, and I lost all the people I was subscribed to and all of this. And I was like, well, that sucks. So then I had to start my own account. So younger Addison made lots of mistakes, but she learns, and then she tells them on the podcast for everybody else to hear her embarrassment. So, again, with the financial stuff, monitor your financial accounts. Mm-hmm. So if maybe you did fall victim to a scam, or you think there's suspicious activity going on with your money, most banks have banking apps. I know mine is just a local one back home, and I even have an app for it. Most banks have banking accounts, and they will tell you what your available balance is, your ledger balance, if you have an outstanding payment or anything like that. And they'll also make it to where you can set up automatic transfers. Yes. So if there's a transfer that's pulled, or an automatic withdraw for bills or something like that, if there's something in there that you're like, I didn't set up that $300 payment, or even just a $50 payment, maybe look into that. Call your bank, call whatever cybersecurity company they may use for your bank account. I know I went to buy an iPad a couple weeks ago, and they called me, and they were like, why do you have a almost $600 purchase going through? And I was like, that is me. And because I didn't realize that they were flagging it as a fraudulent charge, I pressed the button like 7 times, and they were like, you have 7 charges for this. I was like, I promise it's just one of those. Please get rid of all of those. Those aren't supposed to be there. I was being dumb. I'm just a girl. It's fine. It's fine. And so we had a good laugh about it. My bank, they think I'm pretty funny. And then kind of when we go into that, verifying everything, verify your callers too. If it's I know Apple for sure does the possible scam, or if it's a really weird location, why are you going to pick it up? If you're not expecting a call, don't pick up the call. If it's a weird location, don't pick it up.
Apple actually has a setting on their iPhones now where you can block or just send it straight to voicemail any callers that are not coming from in your area, or that are obviously spam calls. I can look it up and
I did not know that.
Yeah. If you go into your settings, you check it out.
Especially learn area codes. Learn area codes for sure. One, because I know my area code from back when I lived in Florida, whenever I get those calls, I don't answer those. If it's someone that I know from back home, which there's only from back there, there's only 3 people that I still actively talk to, and only 2 of them have my phone number.
And they'll be in your contacts.
And they'll be in my contacts because I text them regularly.
Yep. Yeah. So if you have an iPhone and you go into your settings, and then you go to the top search bar and you type in phone, you should be able to click the first link up at the top that says phone. And you go in there, scroll down a little bit. It'll be under the calls section, and there's an option called silence unknown callers. And if you turn that on, then it'll mitigate you getting all those random phone calls where they're like, you won the lottery. You definitely won the lottery.
I never signed up for the lottery, but
you're
cool.
16 years old, but you won the lottery. You definitely entered it.
Yeah, I can't even legally buy a lottery ticket, but this is awesome. No,
awesome.
What are you doing? Like that, and then learn the Stephenville area code for college students here.
254.
254. Most of the time you can answer those. Most of those aren't going to be scammed, because a lot of the time it's probably something from a university, or if you're looking for off-campus living, it'll be, whatever housing company or department or whatever is calling about you living somewhere. I know that was me. I looked at my phone and I was like, that is the most random phone number I've ever seen in my entire life. And then I was like, why does the area code look familiar? And it was because it was the school calling me. They were like, hey, we just had a question. It was from one of the offices. And I was like, oh, good thing I answered that, because it was really important, actually. So just kind of look at things like that. If you don't recognize it at all, there's nothing about it that you don't pick it up. I don't pick up Florida numbers. Most of the time, they're the quote-unquote IRS or someone telling me that I owe a car payment on a car from 2012. I couldn't even drive in 2012. I could barely write a coherent sentence. So I don't think I have a car payment due on a car from 2012. And then, we kind of have touched on all the things of what you can do when you have been phished or when you think you've been phished. So just change your passwords if you have entered your password for something or anything that may be compromised.
I would even say change your password on a different device.
Yep.
Don't do it on the one that you entered information in, just in case they're able to record and see what you're typing.
Yeah.
You don't want to reset your password to something that they already know.
Yeah. And then, contact your bank if it has to do with money. Ask them to freeze your debit card, freeze your accounts. Don't let anything come in, go out, nothing, however long it may need to be. Maybe even just start a whole other account. I know people have done that because they're like, this was way weird, and they wouldn't back off. So I just transferred everything to a different account, shut that one down. It has nothing in it.
And even though it may be difficult if you have charges tied to your debit card or credit card, still go ahead and ask for that to be frozen. Ask for a different card number because we've had people fall for phishing attempts. Their information is compromised, but they don't want to change their card number.
Yeah.
Because they would have to go through and reset everything back up.
Yeah.
It's not worth doing that. You want to go ahead and reset everything.
And then for credit cards, you can enable fraud alerts.
Yes.
Or you can even just set up alerts for debit and credit to anytime you make a transaction or anything like that, that you'll get a notification where you can, I know my mom has them set up, so anytime I've accidentally bought Sonic, she's like, did you enjoy your Sonic today? And I'm like, yes, I did. So you can set it up for any of that just so you get it, and then if you're like, I'm sitting in my bed and I haven't moved in the past 4 hours, I don't think I bought anything, you can go and report that, and then your bank will take care of it, and that's all you have to do.
Absolutely.
And then damage control, kind of in the same realm, is review your transaction or for any unauthorized activity, and then monitor your credit report. If it dropped insanely out of nowhere and you just looked yesterday, maybe look into that one. Maybe check and see what's going on. Maybe you had something with school pull out, so maybe it affected it. Whatever it may be, check and make sure that it's your fault and not somebody else's, basically, whether it be good or bad. And reporting, like we said, forward it to a cybersecurity office if it's your school email, or you can report scams to the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and they can help you take care of it. If it's like a personal email or it's a text message or a phone call, you can just contact them and they'll help you with it, because everybody needs a little bit of help here and there. So
Definitely.
Just be careful. Don't fall for the stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call it stupid stuff because, like you said, the gift cards, paying through gift card, that's crazy. I'm sorry. That one caught me off guard. I laughed a little too hard about that one. It's not funny, but it's funny.
It is funny.
It's not funny, but it is.
You're right. It's funny, but it's not.
Because that's kind of sad if you fell for that. Yeah. I know I've been taught not to fall for scams since I was in the 6th grade when I got my first school email. And they were like, maybe we should give y'all a lesson on not clicking on the random crap you're going to get. And I was like, perfect. And I have never steered away from that. So I think we've touched on everything.
Perfect.
And I'm so grateful that I got to have you guys on here and we got to chat about all that. It was really fun. I really liked getting into that and hearing about some of the things y'all have come across. That was fun. And then just remember that you can get some help from Mr. Cory Shaw in Austin if you just, contact the cybersecurity office here on campus. And, as always, be well, be ready, and be Texan Smart.